This is The Road Show, and I'm your host, David Warren. Well, today is Therapy Day, the Holidays edition, with our friend Kim Har, a licensed professional counselor and a licensed marriage and family therapist. Today, we're going to discuss how to make the holidays happier for those around you, as well as for yourself. Let's welcome back our friend, Kimberly Har.
Hello, David.
Did you like that Kimberly twist
I like
there?
it.
Well, that's because somebody's got a book coming out pretty soon. We won't say when that is, but I get one of the first interviews.
That's right.
Can you tell us the title, or is that a secret?
No, I think I can say the title. It's on Amazon. It's not ready for pre-order yet, but I think it's been released.
All right.
So the title is Healing from Life's Deepest Hurts. And then the subtitle is Reclaiming Your Life After Grief, Loss, and Trauma.
Well, congratulations. This is with a major publisher, by the way.
It is.
And so we will keep you posted here on The Road Show. And, of course, I'm going to interview you about the book. Mm-hmm. And people are going to be amazed when they hear the genesis of this book.
I'm excited to tell it.
Yeah. It will be something they will discuss at dinner that night. It's something that happened to you personally.
That's correct.
That you would never be able to tell based on your bubbly personality that happened to you.
That's right.
And so you went through something major, and so you're going to tell your story to basically say, I've been there, but then you're also going to come at it from the angle of a therapist to help people that have gone through, again, trauma, loss, grief, those areas.
I tell a story that says, me too. I get it. I've walked through the deepest of valleys, but I've also discovered a way to come out. And so it's the personal, but it's also the professional.
Can we change our personalities, do you think? As a therapist, how would you answer that? I mean, if I'm more, melancholy or tend to see things from a negative light, can I change that?
Well, I think you can obviously change it. I think that sometimes when you talk about our personalities, that's a little bit different than habits or negative beliefs that we've tended to grow through with time. But I think, yes, we can change. It just takes intentionality.
All right. I won't make you spell that word. That's a long one, intentionality. Okay, well, it's almost the holidays. I mean, we are in the holiday season, obviously, so I'm going to ask you for a Hardy Har Har story, so do you have a holiday edition for us today?
I do. This year, I have always been one that waits to put your Christmas tree up. And I'm a little bit more of a perfectionist. I want the symmetrical tree. I want the matching ornaments. And I have done my tree, honestly, the same way for as long as I can remember it. And enter the life when you get a grandchild. Because my 4-year-old granddaughter came to my house the other day when I was setting up my Christmas tree, and her eyes lit up, and I was practically done. It was just the way I wanted it. And she said, Grandma, I want to help you decorate it. And if you know anything about me, my kids will tell you they were never allowed to help me decorate the Christmas tree. They would bring home their little ornaments from school, but somehow they always made it to the back of the tree because they weren't symmetrical. It wasn't the look I wanted.
So what was the change? How did you change from the way you were to the way you are now?
I tell you, becoming a grandparent changes you. You want to talk about changing personalities. My little granddaughter, she got out this long string of beads and she literally just draped them hanging horribly from a couple branches. It looks terrible. And with this big red thing, she stuck in the middle of it. And normally, in the old days, I would have waited till she was asleep. I would have moved it to the back of the tree so that she could see it was still there. But you know what? This grandma left it up. And I intend to leave it up the entire season because it's different when it's your grandkids. I tell you, it brings a smile to my face because it makes me think of her smile.
Well, it kind of fits with our theme of making the holidays happier for everyone. So that made her holidays happier.
It did. It started them off wonderful. And it made mine better, too, because it wasn't something I would have normally done, but I did something different.
Is that the Hardy Har Har story?
That's as good as the Hardy Har gets. Although this year, Christmas for the Hardy Hars, that's the one time of year we get all of our children together. So we get my husband's 3 children, their 2 spouses, then we get my 4 and their 3 spouses. So we have probably, 11 adult children, and we invite my parents. So we have a large, loud number.
I love your stories about how when the Inns clan, the loud ones, meet the Har clan.
That's right.
And they coexist for holidays. The Hars are shell-shocked, probably, by the Inns.
The Hars probably need a few days to recuperate. And if you don't know, with my side of the family, if you've ever watched the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, that would be my side of the family. It's whoever talks the loudest. We love to one-up each other's stories, and to us, it's fun. And so, yeah, it gets to be a loud Christmas.
Well, you are fun. So if the rest of the Inns family is like you, I'm all in.
Well, you know what? You're more than welcome to come.
I bet you mean that.
I do. Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, you know what I'll be doing during the Christmas prayer, right?
Eating? What will you be doing?
Fixing that Christmas tree.
That's true. That's true. Because you, like me, are a little bit of a perfectionist.
A little bit. No comment, sound man to my left. Tim Maroney. All right, so tell us, what will we be talking about when we come back today?
Sure. Well, we're going to be talking about, just through the holidays, it is so easy to get caught up in being overwhelmed and being stressed, but there's good news in that we all have the power to do something different. We can do things that are going to make it an easier, more joyful holiday, and so we're going to be looking at common challenges and practical tips of what we can do different.
All right, that's coming up on this special holiday edition of A Therapeutic Roadshow. I'm David Warren, here with some exciting news for Oasis listeners. We have a new mobile device app. It's free, easy to download, and lets you enjoy our refreshing music and talk everywhere you go. If you have an Android cell phone, go to the Google Play Store. And if you have an iPhone or iPad, visit the Apple Store and search for Oasis Radio Network. Be an Oasis ambassador and share this news with family and friends around the world. I'm David Warren.
And I'm Kim Har.
And today we're talking about making the holidays happier for everyone. And Kim now takes it away as our resident therapist.
All right. Well, I said we were going to talk about some common challenges. And the first one I want to talk about is a harder one, and that is those that are experiencing grief and loss through the holidays. You know, whether there are those that have maybe lost a family member, gone through a life transition, like a divorce, maybe empty nested, and their child's not coming home for Christmas. Old traditions can actually bring up nostalgia, but it can also bring up sadness. And so what we want to do on grief and loss is we want to be able to embrace the present while also honoring the past. And things you can do are start a new tradition. This may be a perfect year. You know, when I was sharing earlier, my new tradition is I'm going to let my grandkids help me decorate the Christmas tree. Mm-hmm. But start a new tradition, and that may be things like if you've always had specific foods, we'll incorporate some new recipes. Go for a, walk, a family hike. It may be, watch a family movie night. And so now if you've got someone that has passed away, it may be creating a memory keepsake. Mm-hmm. Like I've seen some beautiful ornaments where you can have a person's picture put on there and put I'll always be with you, or put it on the Christmas tree, or share stories about someone that's no longer there. So we're not trying to forget the past. We just want to also embrace the future.
What if I'm around a person that has experienced grief and loss during this current calendar year, and I know this is their first Christmas without a spouse or maybe a child or a parent?
Sure.
How should I interact with them?
I think it's important to don't try to push them to be happy. Is allow them that they're going to have a lot of different emotions going on, and you want to include them in what you're doing, but it may be asking them, whether it is you sharing a story about somebody that they lost. And it's making room that we don't have to pretend that person's not there. Mm-hmm. So I think really the biggest thing is allow for all feelings, allow for sadness. It doesn't mean the whole thing is going to be sad, but don't be afraid of moments of sadness and invite them to share their stories.
Okay.
So
All right. So we're talking about 5 common challenges people face during the holidays, the toughest being the one you just mentioned, grief and loss. The next one is loneliness and isolation.
Right.
Now, the first one, grief and loss, I can't help that
Right.
as far as the lost part of that,
Right.
of those two. But loneliness and isolation, I can definitely choose about isolation or not.
Right, right. Well, and when we go through, especially hard times, we want to tend to pull away. But I think that we need to keep in mind that not everybody has people to celebrate the holidays with. There's lots of families that are actually estranged where kids aren't coming home, or there's certain family members that aren't invited. And I think that practical tips for loneliness and isolation is recognizing, just like you said, you have to do something. You can't just not do anything. So if I'm the one that's lonely, some of the things that I can do intentionally is I can reach out and I can connect with others, and I can let people know I'm going to be maybe alone. Maybe it's I'd like to be invited if they've got something going on, because people don't just naturally know that you want to be somewhere. They don't naturally know you're lonely because we tend to put up a face of we're fine. So reach out and connect to others. You may use, technology nowadays. If you're like maybe in another state, then your family will use technology in a way to FaceTime or to, use a Zoom call or connect with family members or friends. You can also get involved by volunteering and serving. There are so many organizations that are needing volunteers, and there's something about when you get involved in giving to other people, it actually helps you feel better because you recognize this isn't just about me, I'm giving to others.
One of the things you have under this header of loneliness and isolation is offering small gestures of care. Could you give us some examples of that?
Sure. Some of the small gestures of care. Now, this is especially if you know that somebody's lonely, check in on them. It may be, don't assume somebody is going to reach out. So check in and say, hey, what are you doing for the holidays? Mm-hmm. Would you like to come and join us? And it may not be for a main family celebration, but it may be a day leading up to that. So check in with people. Let them know that you're thinking about them. You can do things like dropping off some kind of a holiday treat. It may be, let's say it's a neighbor. I have an elderly neighbor whose husband passed away, and I know she'll be with family throughout the holidays. But if I just, leading up to those holidays, if I just bring her a note, say, just thinking about you, just wanting to let you know how much we love you being our neighbor. Mm-hmm. So do something that's actually going to be saying, I see you. Because that's what people want, is they want to be seen. You can organize an outing, get people together rather than waiting to be invited. That's another thing. It's, I can say, why me? Nobody wants to be with me. Or I can look for other people that may need something to do and say, hey, let's just all go out and do something. I can host it. So I can do things like asking people about their traditions. I love this one. If there is someone, especially around you or maybe in your church that has got more maybe physical, limitations, mm-hmm. Ask them if you can come help them decorate. I remember the first year my mom and dad, it was too much work for them to put up a Christmas tree. Or going outside and maybe they want lights on their house, but they actually can't do it.
Right.
And so it may be offering to help them do things like that, assist with holiday errands, ask, can I help wrap some gifts? Is there something that I could pick up for you at the store while I'm out? So just be on the lookout, because there's so many things that we can do if we just put our thoughts to it.
Boy, I would love that one. Just somebody to drop by and me give a list of things that need to be picked up or done. Boy, that would be a blessing.
Well, sometimes it's a little bit more of somebody may say, I don't know what I want, but I need to get a gift for this age child.
Oh, okay.
And it may be you saying, let me go to the store and just give me a budget, mm-hmm. and I'm going to come back, and you don't even have to think about it. So just look for creative ways to reach out.
By the way, have you gotten your grandchildren their well, we're this close. I'm sure you have. You've had it for a few months now.
Well, I have gotten some gifts. Now I'm a grandma, and I'm sure that, When Lyndon, my oldest granddaughter, was over the other day, I gave her a little catalog. And I was like, okay, because do you remember how fun it was when we were little to get like the J.C. Penney catalog or the Sears and Roebuck, and we could circle the toys? And so I don't know. I think I probably got one from Amazon. And I gave it to her, and I said, okay, circle the toys. And so I'm sure Grandma will be getting more. That's part of the joy for me of just being a grandma.
You're a good grandma. All right, we're talking about common challenges that we all face during the holidays and the tips to overcome these challenges. Are we ready for the next one?
I think we are.
Okay. I think most people can identify with this one. Difficult family relationships and or family tensions.
Yes.
Da, 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 da.
Sometimes, especially when we gather with large families, is there can be somebody there that has a reputation of liking conflict, stirring up trouble, being a little bit more of the drama person. And sometimes just going into it prepared is really important. And that's not just setting boundaries with other people, but it's setting boundaries for yourself. If I know I'm going to have to be in a situation with somebody that maybe I don't get along with, maybe I'm going to do practical things like set myself at an opposite end of the table with other people. Now, I'm not talking about ostracizing. I'm just saying, pick a seat that maybe I'm not right next to them. Decide ahead of time, how long can I stay? So if I get there and say, hey, you know what, I can only be here an hour and a half. Well, know ahead of time, this is how long I'm going to stay, because that will help with our self-talk. We won't be telling ourselves things like, oh, I'm trapped. I have to be here. It's more, in an hour and a half, I get to go and do something else.
Well, for family events, I'm going to say most of the time, I don't know, but in my mind, most of the time, it's the mom who's kind of the queen bee of the event. Maybe the dad, as far as like the family gathering,
right?
The lunch,
right?
The gift opening and all that. And so the mom, let's say it's the mom, okay?
Okay.
And the mom is going to be the one telling the kids, okay, they're, the adult kids, okay, we're going to eat at a certain time.
Right.
We're going to open gifts afterward, whatever the plan may be. But I don't think it would be a bad idea for the mom to tell the adult children, now, we're not going to talk about politics
right
during our event. So let's just get that out of the way now so it doesn't have to be addressed during the lunch.
Right.
What do you think of that idea?
I think it's a good idea unless mom's the one that's the pot stirrer. Because there are moms that want to they want to kind of create the drama.
Then mom,
that's right.
Get over yourself.
Then dad, we need your help. Well, I think that one thing I would maybe say is rather than being maybe as I don't want to use the word harsh, but I'm going to use the word harsh and saying this is the way it's going to be. I think sometimes when we ask and say, hey, I'm asking for your help. This holiday season, I'm asking that we avoid topics of, politics. It may even be, different ways people feel about, you may have someone coming to your celebration that doesn't go to church, that doesn't love the Lord, that doesn't have a relationship with the Lord. Mm-hmm. Well, it may be, let's be mindful that we're not going to pick subjects that are, criticizing or putting people on the spot. So we just want to be really tender. Now, that can also be, for instance, if you've got single adult kids, you may be asking people, you know what, do me a favor. Don't ask who they're dating or when they're going to get married, or if somebody is newly married, don't ask when they're going to have a baby. Some of those things, it's like, let's just kind of come in here and enjoy ourselves.
Right.
So set some kind of boundaries, limits, but maybe ask for people's help with that ahead of time rather than saying this is what you're going to do. The other thing with conflict is sometimes know yourself when you're beginning to get defensive, or if there's a topic that kind of hits your hot button, have a plan of escape. And that may be, pick up your plate and say, I'm going to go take my dish to the sink. Can I take somebody else's? I'm going to go check on the kids in the other room. It may be, I'm going to just step outside for a breath of fresh air for a minute. So I'm not having to sit there and stew and get frustrated and defensive. And so have an idea of when I need to actually come up for air or take a break. I already know what I'm going to do.
I want to remind our listeners and those just tuning in that we're talking about making the holidays happier for everyone. And sometimes making holidays happier for others means some of our comments or thoughts don't necessarily need to be verbalized.
Right. I think that really asking yourself, one is, what's the purpose for me asking this? Am I trying to get,
Right.
a rise? And even though we're talking about making the holidays happier for everyone and yourself included, I think that if I am being very proactive, I'm actually doing it for myself. I'm
Yeah,
making the holidays
right.
happier because if things are instigated, or if I get frustrated and then I say something and then somebody else says something, holidays can be a time when a lot of conflict actually escalates.
You're sowing a good seed.
That's right. That's right. And I just say, just pray ahead of time. Ask the Lord for wisdom in what to say, what not to say. I always like to say, Lord, help me be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Excellent advice from an excellent therapist. Kim Har is with us today. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss the final 2 challenges that we all face during the holidays, including the pressure of gift giving. Back after this.
I'm Karen Jensen Salisbury, one of the hosts you hear on the Oasis Network Roadshow. For 35 years, this 1 hour of the day has inspired and motivated you, our listeners, with thousands of stories of people whose lives demonstrate the truth that with God, all things are possible. It's an hour that you should make a part of your day, Monday through Friday, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central. The Roadshow, an Oasis Network presentation.
I'm David Warren here with our resident therapist, Kim Har. Tell us the letters after your name, please.
All right. They are LPC, LMFT, MOM, and GMA. Mom and Grandma have to get in there. The LPC stands for Licensed Professional Counselor, and the LMFT stands for Licensed Marriage and Family Therapist.
Have you always had happy holidays?
I think when I think back to most of our holidays, I would say most of them have been happy. But I was raised in a very traditional home where we always made it about the Lord. We made it about family. And I think, if I remember correctly, my dad would always say at Christmas time, he would say his desire was for us to love God, love each other, as in our, the siblings, and to love my parents. And I think I was modeled for at a very early age, just all through my growing up, what the holidays actually were about. And they were about giving and family and the Lord.
And how did you pass on that characteristic to your children who are now adults with their own families?
Right. I think the same way my mom and dad did to me. I think that my kids saw it modeled as they grew up. And I think that, what was important we would do together, but we always made it. One of the things I was always very specific teaching my kids was about respect for, especially the elders in the family. And I know that one of the things that we all love, and it's a given, is when we get together, like this year, my dad is 86 years old, my mom's 80. And even though technically my husband and I, we are the head of our house, we always invite my dad to actually do a blessing and say the blessing at the very beginning, because he calls himself the big bopper.
Well, he's the spiritual father in this case.
He's the patriarch. Yeah. And so I think that I was always taught my children, hey, we honor Grandma and Grandpa. We honor this. And so I think it was more by example. And that's what I now see them doing, as they're starting their families.
We have been talking about 5 common challenges which people face during the holidays, and Kim is giving us some very good therapeutic tips from the vantage point of a therapist. And I mentioned before we took our break that we would discuss the challenge of financial stress and gift expectations.
Yes, that is such a huge thing, because we want to give the perfect gifts. We want to give a gift as good as the other person is giving, so our gift looks good. We don't want to let people down. And so one of the things that's really important is what we can do is decide ahead of time, what is our gift budget? And don't go over that. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, it's a Christmas time that people get out the credit cards, they can get in debt, it can cause financial pressure throughout the year. And so I think if you go into it ahead of time with the expectation, hey, this is what we're going to be spending. I tell my kids, and this is how much we're spending so that they know. And it's not an expectation of, hey, I'm going to be like Oprah, you get a car and you get a car. So it's be very upfront and communicate that. Even with other family members, I think this is really important is don't have a budget or an expectation yourself without communicating it, because that can get hard. And what I mean by that is if you're getting together as a big family, have an spoken expectation. Are we exchanging gifts or are we not exchanging gifts? If we're going to do things like maybe this year we agree it's only handmade gifts. Maybe this year it is simply we write each other letters of love to each other.
Or a $25 budget.
Right.
$50 budget, whatever fits with your family.
Right. So you want to put that out up front so that you're not coming with, well, I thought we were giving handwritten notes and somebody gave me, a $50 gift and now I feel inferior. I feel ashamed of my gift. So just really communicate that ahead of time.
Sounds like, going back to our previous segment, that the person in charge of the holiday event really needs to be paying attention to this roadshow to go over things such as
that's right
topics that we're not going to discuss and budget.
Yep, budget.
And gift exchange.
Are we going to give gifts? If you've got a family like mine where you've got lots of adult kids and grandkids, okay, it may be, I've told my kids, don't worry about buying each other presents. I mean, they can talk about that amongst themselves. I don't make that rule. But it's more, they all love getting the grandkids who would be their nieces and nephews. There's something fun about getting kids, the excitement in their eyes. So just communicate that so that everybody's on the same page. The other expectation that can really be stressful at Christmas time is especially when you've got adult children and they've got multiple families to go to, or if you're the one that has multiple families to go to. And so we say yes to everything. We try to shove everything in, but we end up being stressed out. We end up being irritable. And so I think even with that, when we're deciding, okay, what can I go to? What can I not? And I've got to be okay with saying no to certain things. And maybe this year say, this year, you know what, we can't be there on this day. However, we can come this day. But next year, we will be there on that day. When I've got adult children, and my daughter and her husband, they live in a different town than me. And they said, it's too hard for us to try and go here and eat a big Christmas meal and then come to your house and eat a big Christmas meal. So we've decided that, 1 year I get them on Christmas Eve, 1 year I get them on Christmas Day. And so I would encourage listeners, especially if you're the parents of adult children, don't make it about the day. Make it about the time together that you guys have. Only commit to things that you can be joyful about. Because if you're making a commitment to go and you're frustrated, irritable, angry, you're setting yourself up for a hard holiday.
Well, we don't know how others around us are going to behave during these next few days, but we can do our part in making the holidays even happier ones. So as a therapist, Kim, you're going to give us some proactive, practical tips that are within our control that will improve our holiday experiences. So what are these practical tips?
Okay. I think, let me reiterate, when you talk about that are in our control, is we need to take responsibility and not wait for other people to make the perfect holiday for us. We can do something. And so the first one is focus on what matters. What is it? Christmas isn't just about, getting together and presents and what's in it for me. Look outward. Look at how can I give, serve others? How can I do small acts of kindness? And so focus on asking yourself, what really matters to me about the holiday season? The second one is really focus on your well-being. Prioritize your well-being. During the holidays, it's easy to
get sick,
get tired, get overcommitted, get overwhelmed. And so make sure that you're prioritizing. And some of this is in setting boundaries. What can I go to? What can I not? But get rest. Get rest. Make sure that you're eating well so that you can focus on what matters. The third one, like I already said, be able to say no when necessary.
All right. Let's role play here.
All right.
I'm going to be, let's see, which one shall I be here? Okay, I'm going to be the one getting told no. So I'm going to extend an invitation to my good friend, Kimberly Har, a.k.a. Kim Har. Kim, no, you need to decline my my invitation, by the way.
Okay, I'd love to
But
come.
I'm doing this so people can hear
Okay.
how to say no successfully.
Okay.
Or at least attempt to say no successfully. Hey, Kim, I am having this get-together with a Christmas get-together with our friends from high school since this is our 40th year. And so it's on this date right in the middle of December, and I really hope that you'll come to this.
Oh, David, I would love to come, and I am so honored that you asked me. You know, this year the holidays are already so packed that unfortunately I don't think I can make it, but I want you to know how much I appreciate you thinking of me.
Okay, now let's say that I caught you off guard with that invitation. Could you have said something like, see, you already know what to say because you're a trained therapist, but let's say, oh gosh, could you have said, let me get back with you on that?
Sure.
And then basically have said the same thing after you thought it through.
You sure can. You don't owe an answer in that moment. So another way to answer that may be, you know what, I'd actually love to. I don't know what my calendar looks like. So let me check, whether it's with my spouse, let me check my calendar and let me get back with you. But then make sure you get back with them. Follow that up. And if you call back, that's when you're always hoping you get a voicemail. It's like, please don't answer. Please don't answer. But when you call back, you can actually say, you know what? I am so honored and I wish it would work. Please invite me to the next one.
Okay. I was just thinking, if you called me and invited me, I'm wondering if the courteous thing to do would be to call you back to decline versus texting you
Yes.
to decline. Maybe follow the lead of the inviter.
Yes.
And just,
Yeah, if you're texted an invitation, feel free to text back.
But if you call me,
Right.
I probably should call you back.
Right. I think don't take for granted that you were given an opportunity, and what that meant behind it is your presence was actually wanted, and that's a compliment. So you don't want to dismiss it easily like it's no big deal, because in this instance, when you're talking about like a getting together with a reunion, well, that took a lot of work. And so whether it is being able to validate, thank, appreciate, and say, please don't forget to invite me next time. You know what? Next time, I'd really like to come.
The next time we have a 40th reunion.
That's right. What's funny? I actually was invited last week in the middle of Christmas holidays, I was invited to a school reunion of all of the people I graduated with when I became a therapist. And it was like, hey, it's a great idea, but I think we're going to have to push it to the summer. Or those of us that's a smaller group can meet, on a certain day, but the rest of us, let's do it again. Let's give it extra time and let's think it through.
I love that. So the takeaway from this is you don't have to give an immediate answer when you know that you want to decline. And maybe it would be good not to give it an immediate answer if you do want to attend, because you might be caught up in the emotion,
right,
and you're not really thinking this through, that I'm in mid-December or I'm heading towards Christmas here.
Yep. And then you have to call back and say, I know I said yes,
that's the worst.
But now I need to say no. Right. I think if you can just pause and just remember, you don't have to give answers in that moment. Have a standard reply, because you might get invited to a number of things. And it might simply be, you know what, let me talk to my spouse and I'll get back to you. Or let me check my calendar. Let me make sure that there's no other obligations I've already committed to, and let me get back to you. So have that automatic reply.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, so you have been giving us some practical tips on improving our holiday experiences. The first was focus on giving. Mm-hmm. The number two one is prioritize well-being. Mm-hmm. So plenty of rest, lots of water, healthy eating. Don't sugar load.
Right.
Okay, or caffeine load, as I have my, I won't say what number coffee. Say no when necessary. Glad you clarified that. And then the fourth one that I would like for you to explain is set the tone.
Yes, with setting the tone, I need to be mindful that I can create an atmosphere around me. And so if somebody else is negative, it doesn't mean I have to be negative. If somebody else is pressuring, doesn't mean I have to feel pressured. I can very intentionally choose my responses. And you know what? Positivity is contagious. It's like when I am coming in with a good attitude, when I'm coming in with, I'm not looking for offense, I'm not looking for something to be wrong, when I'm coming in with an anticipation, if somebody is negative, you know what, I can take and I can turn that around and say, you know what, that makes me think of this, and turn it right back into something more positive. So I think the biggest takeaway I want listeners to get is that we have to be intentional. We have to choose to do things. We have to act on those. And we just have to maybe think ahead and be proactive.
And you said it earlier, pray before you go to the event.
That's right. That's right. Pray. Anytime. In fact, there have been times that I've gone to family gatherings and I'm like, oh, what's it going to be like with this person or that person? And if we're not careful, we can already get our ideas, our fortune-telling ideas of what this is going to look like. And sometimes when we can catch that and remind ourselves, you know what? Maybe this is an opportunity that's supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. And so how can I get myself out of the way? And how can I really commit to seeing that person, seeing where they are, seeing their needs? And how can I how can I be Jesus to the world?
That's beautifully said, Kim. All right. So we're going to take a final break here and be back with some good news. You have a free resource to help us navigate this special time of year, basically kind of a summary of what we have discussed today.
That's right.
Because I don't know that everybody had a pen and paper out during this hour. So you have a PDF, since you're the reigning PDF queen, and it's all free, and we'll tell you about it after this final break. I'm David Warren, Program Director at Oasis Radio Network and one of the hosts of this podcast. All of our hosts enjoy hearing from you, our listening family, so drop us a note. Our email address is roadshow@oasisnetwork.org. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and you'll receive new episodes on your mobile devices. And now, back to the show. I'm David Warren here with our resident therapist, Kim Har. By the way, her website is there'shopehere.com. there'shopehere.com, and she's getting ready to give you her email address. And tell us why, Kim.
All right. I specifically create a free PDF for the Oasis listeners. You are the very first people to receive this PDF because I had it designed for you. And what I designed was, it is called Helpful Holiday Reminders, and there's 4 sections on it that really just go back and recap the things we've been talking about and give ideas about creating new holiday memories, setting boundaries for peaceful gatherings, letting go of perfection and embracing simplicity, and then taking care of your well-being. And if the listeners would like a copy of this free PDF, all they need to do is send me an email at kim@there'shopehere.com, and in the subject line, just put on their holiday reminders, and within, I would say, 24 to 48 hours, they will have it in their inbox at no charge.
Excellent. I'm glad you're specifying what to put in the helpful holiday reminders, because we're getting quite a stack of your PDFs going here.
That's right. Well, and sometimes if somebody just sends me something saying, hey, I just heard what was on the roadshow this week, sometimes we may re-air something that we have recorded live. And so it's important for me to reference what it is that you're asking for, and that way I can get you the right PDF. All
right. Well, it's almost Christmas. Have you told us what you're doing yet? I mean, I kind of know.
I'm sure it will be, well, this year it may be at my sister's house. I have a sister that lives like a mile down the road from me, and we alternate. Thanksgiving is this year at my house, so I'm sure Christmas will be at her house. But we all get together as a large family, and the biggest thing we do is we celebrate family and we celebrate Jesus.
And her name is Brenda.
It is.
And she, unlike you, has an outdoor kitchen.
Yes, she does. It's a big one.
You'll have to hear a previous episode to get that joke. It's archived, by the way, on our website, oasisnetwork.org, in the Roadshow section.
It's probably on the one about comparison.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, probably. I'm not remembering right now because I'm thinking about Christmas time, and so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love it when we can get everybody together. And this year, I get to meet a new grandson this Christmas. He will be 3 months old. And so my stepson and his wife are bringing our new grandbaby to meet us.
Well, one of the many things that Kim likes to do is sing. You used to sing at your dad's Southern Gospel gatherings all the time.
I did. I sang. It was a Southern Gospel worship gathering, and I was one of the original Good Word worship singers. It's kind of like the ORU action singers.
That is so Peter Enns. Oh, my goodness.
And you know, David, before that, though, I actually sang on my dad's children's Bible story books and tapes. They were called Stories That Live. And we sold over 1 million of them. And my sister and I, we sang on those.
Wow.
So it was like little kid songs. They're out of print now.
Oh.
I would love someday for them to come back in print, but Pat Boone narrated them, and he would always say, the special little songs are done by Brenda and Kim Enns.
That's lovely. Well,
You're not going to ask me to sing, though, are you?
no, but I'm going to ask you about some Christmas carols.
Okay.
And this will be fun. And this is from a book I like to read from every year called The Adventure of Christmas, The Adventure of Christmas by Lisa Whelchel. And do you want to remind our listeners who Lisa Whelchel is?
She was on The Facts of Life, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm, Blair.
Yeah, she was Blair on the Facts of Life television show.
And you know she was on the Road Show, too.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'll have to go look in the archives.
Well, that one is not. That was, I think that one was pre-internet, so we don't have that archive. But it's archived in my brain.
Oh, well, that's good. You'll have to tell me about it then.
I'll tell you over Christmas lunch at your house.
I'm sorry, David. I don't think I'll be able to come to that.
Okay. So Lisa has put together some silly seasonal synonym songs. Got that?
That's a mouthful.
Silly seasonal synonym songs. Our sound man is loving this. Okay, I'm going to give you 10.
All
now,
right.
Remember, these are synonyms, and they're kind of kooky. So you
Okay.
got to figure out what Christmas carol this is. All right.
If I get stumped, can I ask Tim to help me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim will have to shout it out from across the room, or I could hum.
Oh, yeah.
I could hum it to the synonym.
Oh, that's a good
Okay.
idea.
All right, so move hitherward the entire assembly of those who are loyal in their belief. Move hinderward the entire assembly of those who are loyal in their
Oh,
belief.
come all ye faithful.
So good, so good.
Okay,
How did you ever get that?
Yeah, it's like I can name that song in 2 notes.
We're gonna do 10 of these. Okay, number 2.
Okay.
This is an easy one, Kim.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
I started off too hard.
That was
I
hard.
apologize.
All right.
All right. Easy.
Okay.
Small municipality in Judea, southeast of Jerusalem.
Oh, little town of Bethlehem.
Oh, you are so right. Listen, the celestial messengers produce harmonious sounds.
Hark the herald angels sing.
Very good. Nocturnal time span of unbroken quietness.
Silent night.
Okay. An emotion excited by the acquisition or expectation of good given to the terrestrial sphere.
Joy to the world.
You're not cheating either.
I'm not.
No, I know, because I'm reporting to our
I
listeners
can name
the
that
truth.
song in 0 notes. I can just read your mind.
All right. How about this one? You'll have to teach this one to your granddaughter.
Okay.
Embellish the interior passageways.
Okay, hum it.
I think Tim's got it. He's
no,
already
I want to
writing
hear you
it
hum
down.
it.
Embellish the interior passageways.
La 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 la. Deck the halls.
Yes.
I have to confess. I knew what it was. I just wanted to hear you hum it.
All right. How'd I do?
You did pretty good.
All right. Diminutive, masculine, master of skin-covered percussion cylinders.
Ooh. The masculine what?
Diminutive, masculine, master of skin-covered percussion cylinders.
Something about drums.
Yeah.
The little drummer boy?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I kept thinking like the skin. I'm thinking football.
Okay, here's number 8.
Okay.
Wow, this is a word. Tintinnabulation of vacillating pendulums in inverted metallic resonant cups.
Okay, I'll take you humming it.
Do you know what it is, Tim?
I think I do.
Okay, let me read it one more time. Tintinnabulation of vacillating pendulums in inverted metallic resonant cups.
I'm waiting for you to hum it.
Tintinnabulation of vacillating pendulums in inverted metallic resonant cups.
Da 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 da.
Oh,
Hey, jingle bells,
tintinnabulation.
jingle bells.
Thank you.
Okay, I just had to sing with you a little
All
bit.
right, number 9. Now we know why your group broke up.
That's right. We did 4-part harmony.
All right, in a distant location, the existence of an impoverished unit of newborn children's slumber furniture.
Okay, in an impoverished something.
Okay. Oh, I said that wrong, folks. I get another chance at this. In a distant location, the existence of an improvised unit of newborn children's slumber furniture.
Far away sleeping cribs. All right, Tim, what do you think it is? Oh, away in a manger.
Correct. And finally, the first person nominative, plural, of a triumvirate of Far Eastern heads of state.
We Three Kings.
Yes.
Hey, I only missed one. Do I get a prize?
You get an A.
That was kind of fun.
You're holding or you're standing a salutatorian stance.
That's right. It does. I always have to let you one-up me a little.
People, you got to go back and hear our past episodes because all this subtext will make sense. Just look for the word therapy session, and then we say next to the therapy session in the Roadshow archives what it is. And I want to encourage you, Kim, after your new book comes out, again, remind us the name.
The name is Healing from Life's Deepest Hurts, Reclaiming Your Life After Grief, Loss, and Trauma.
All right, so that's coming out
Next
soon.
year.
All right, and so we'll be looking for that, and I'll be interviewing you about that.
Yes.
But I think it would be really cool if you did something with these therapy sessions that we have created for our Oasis listeners and maybe topically put them in a book, and you could just reference whatever topic you need, like family estrangement, making the holidays happier, feeling stuck in a rut, leaving loneliness behind.
I know, we've done a lot, haven't we?
We've done a lot of therapy sessions.
Yeah, we have. Maybe you and me get our thinkers together and see what we could do.
Well, you're the best.
Oh,
And I wish you a
David.
Merry, Merry Christmas to you and all the ins and hars. And
Want to come for dinner?
will you fix that Christmas tree first?
I'm going to send you a picture of that Christmas tree on Christmas Day just to prove I left it.
All right. So tell us once again how people can get the free PDF, and it's called Helpful Holiday Reminders.
That's right. Just send me an email at kim@there'shopehere.com. And the There's Hope Here, it's THERES, There's Hope Here.com.
All right. She can spell as well. And her website is there'shopehere.com. Check that out. And so we like to end all of our sessions with good news, and that is there's hope, there's help, and there is healing.
That's
So
right.
what are your closing thoughts as we get ready to say goodbye?
Sure. I just want everyone to remember that the holidays are about presence, not presence like in the gifts, but your presence, not perfection. So be kind to yourself, love those around you, and find joy in the simple, beautiful moments of the holiday season.
Lovely words from a lovely lady. She is Kim Har. I'm David Warren, and it's been
Another great Roadshow.
You've been listening to The Roadshow. If you'd like to write to us, here's our address. The Roadshow, P.O. Box 1924, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74101. Our email address is roadshow@oasisnetwork.org. The views of today's guest aren't necessarily those of this station, but we do appreciate and thank our guest for spending this time with us. The Roadshow, an Oasis Network presentation.